Today we're diving into the art of homemade pasta, but with a twist. Now a classic pasta dish typically would call for 2 ingredients, that's flour and eggs. Pretty simple, right? But today we're asking the question, what would happen if we elevate this dish by using different eggs? For today specifically, we're talking about quail eggs, chicken eggs, and yes, an ostrich egg. Buckle up because things are about to get very interesting. Now let's start with the beast of the bunch. These things are built like a tank. They don't crack like a normal chicken egg when you tap them. To open this bad boy up, we're going to be bringing out the big guns. We'll carefully strike it around the shell's edge. Word of caution here, if you're trying this at home, please keep those fingers out of harm's way. We're going to need them to knead the dough. Once we finally breach the shell, we'll pour this enormous egg into a dish. Next up, we're on the other end of the scale with the quail eggs. We'll need a whopping dozen of these tiny guys to match up to at least 1 chicken egg. Cracking them open might be tedious work, but that's the price for a culinary experiment, right? Now let's whisk up each batch separately, making sure that the yolks and whites are fully combined. First the quail, then the chicken, and finally the mighty ostrich. Making fresh pasta is actually super simple. We're starting by laying down 1 cup of flour, forming a little well in the middle, and then pouring in our egg. Gently mix until the flour and egg become one, and once the dough starts to come together, it's time to get our hands involved and knead. Kneading pasta dough is essential for achieving that perfect silky texture in your final dish. As you knead, you're developing gluten, which gives the dough its elasticity and strength, allowing it to hold up well when rolled thin. This also results in a chewier, more satisfying bite, plus kneading warms the dough, making it smoother and easier to shape, which leads to a beautifully textured, evenly cooked pasta. The hands-on process can also be therapeutic, letting you connect more deeply with your ingredients. We're looking for that perfect smooth texture, which tells us that the gluten is doing its job, making the dough nice and stretchy. Now we'll let this dough rest in the fridge for about 30 minutes, giving it time to relax. And after it's chilled, we'll bring it back out, and here's where the magic of the pasta rolling begins. We're going to send it through the roller again and again, gradually setting it thinner until we reach the perfect delicate sheet of pasta. From there, we switch over to the fettuccine attachment, and voila, we have pasta. Now you don't have to use a stand mixer like I'm using here today. You can easily roll this out with a rolling pin, and then once you have it as thick or thin as you'd like, go ahead and roll up the pasta into like a log, and with a knife, you're gonna cut it as thick or thin as you want to make your fettuccine noodles. Also, here's a quick tip. Whenever we're done rolling out our pasta, we're gonna go ahead and toss it in a little bit of flour and dry it up a little bit. This is gonna make sure that it's more firm so that way whenever we boil it, it doesn't fall apart. Now, because this pasta's fresh, it only needs a couple of minutes in the boiling water to cook. And after that, we're going to go ahead and rinse it under some cold water, which stops the cooking process, keeping it al dente. Now with the pasta done, let's get saucy. In a pan, add 4 cups of heavy cream, a touch of salt, and a generous sprinkle of garlic. Bring it to a gentle boil, and just like that, we've got a base for our sauce. Now to finish up this dish, we're going to take a clean pan and add a spoonful or 2 of Alfredo and reduce it slightly until it's a rich and thick texture. We're going to go ahead and grate some Parmesan cheese, and then we're going to add our pasta and toss it all together until each strand is coated in creamy, cheesy goodness. Then of course we're going to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top, and we're ready to taste. Now guys, before we get into our taste test, I just want to say that 95% of you who are watching are not subscribed. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below. I would love for my channel to grow so that way I can share my food with you, share my love and passion for food with you guys, for people who love to eat, people who love to cook, or people who just love food in general. But with all that said, let's see how these 3 different eggs have affected this pasta. Let's eat. Now wifey's up first and she's gonna go ahead and try our quail egg pasta first. As she's eating it, she says that there's like a sour/bitter flavor to it. Not that it was bad, but you can just kind of tell that it wasn't an actual chicken egg, and of course that's because it was a quail egg. I know I've heard people talk about quail being gamey, so that's probably what she might be tasting. Now for the chicken egg, if you've ever had pasta before, it tastes amazing. You can't really go wrong with an Alfredo, and especially with fresh pasta, it's so much better than the boxed pasta you would get from the store. Now for the ostrich egg, she said it was like a more rich and creamy flavor coming from the noodle rather than the actual sauce. I think this is because ostrich eggs tend to have more fat in their yolks than a chicken egg would, and this made it to where the pasta was elevated even more than a normal chicken egg. Now for me, whenever I'm tasting these dishes, the quail egg pasta, it was so good. I can understand what wifey was talking about with that gamey flavor. It wasn't off-putting at all, and it wasn't like too strong, but it was just something that you can kind of taste in the background, and it kind of lingered a little bit. And like I said before, the chicken egg was so delicious. It was just like a normal pasta. Now trying this ostrich egg, I definitely see what she was talking about. For me, it was just so rich. It was delicious. It was cheesy and creamy. A lot of that fat from the pasta definitely transferred over into this dish, making it so much better. Guys, if you liked what you saw here today, let me know by leaving a like down below on the video. If you're new here, like I said before, hit that subscribe button down below, and don't forget to get that bell notification on so that way you can be notified anytime that I post. I try to make these videos at least once a week. We had a little bit of a drawback these last couple weeks just because I'm getting over a cold, but I promise moving forward, I'm gonna try to have a video out for you guys every single week. I thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay saucy.